Paws up, bear down, red zone, let's go. CHICAGO. Paws up, bear down, red zone, let's go.
Oh, Ryan Poles, what have you done? What have you done? You've gone and made a fool out of everyone. Oh, this is going to be interesting how this plays out today, guys. This is going to be, you're going to see it all day today. This is going to be chaos. Chaos is about to be unleashed upon Bears fandom. Get ready. It's here. And I'm going to help fuel it because I'm one of those that can say I was there. I was there. I was pounding the pavement. I was saying we should go for the haul. And this is not me retracting or me getting my flowers. This is me talking about the current events that are happening right now. For those who don't know, Jayden Daniels had himself a game. So we are going to revisit one of my bigger videos from the offseason. If you are new to following me, I made a ton of videos about keeping Justin Fields, about going for the haul. We had an opportunity with the 1-1 overall pick to get the haul, to set this organization up, the Chicago Bears up for years to come. Normally on Tuesdays now, I do my power rankings. I'm setting that back to the afternoon because this is huge, huge news for the Bears. So we're going to hit it. We're going to do Free Talk Tuesday early. Normally, I do power rankings in the morning, then Free Talk Tuesday in the afternoon. We're doing Free Talk Tuesday early. We're hitting it right off the bat. This is what you guys are getting fed first thing in the morning on Tuesday because it is huge. This comes down to a organization making improper decisions over and over and over again. And did the Chicago Bears get it wrong? And I am not talking about did the Bears get it wrong with Caleb Williams. I'm asking, did they get it wrong in not trading down for a haul? Because I said it over and over again. This draft class could very well be the 2020 draft class when all these people were acting like it was a 2021 draft class where there could only be one good quarterback. And even that one good quarterback, Trevor Lawrence, is looking like he's not a good quarterback anymore. Like he's fallen off a cliff and he's not generational. What if this was 2020? What if you've got multiple quarterbacks and Joe Burrow and Justin Herbert and Jalen Hurts and Tua Tagovailoa? You've got lots of options of quarterbacks that could take you to the Super Bowl. Well, we know it's not just one position. It's several positions that make a team. That's preached over and over and over again. So if there's several good quarterbacks, which I mean, guys, if you're new to this channel, go back and look at my stuff between January, February, March, April, which is where the biggest growth of this channel came from because it's logical, it makes sense, and nobody else was preaching it. It makes sense. Too late. We can't go back. But there's going to be hell to pay if Jaden Daniels is as good as Caleb Williams. Because you're going to hear people today saying, well, Caleb Williams is still going to be good, and it's blah, blah, blah. That's I truly believe it. Caleb Williams could be a great quarterback. If he's not Pat Mahomes and he's equally as good as Jayden Daniels, we just gave up a lot to have a quarterback that's equal and not Pat Mahomes. Not trying to stir the hornet's nest, but that's going to happen naturally. You're going to see it all over today. So I'm going to revisit one of the bigger videos I did where I did a dual mock draft, side-by-side split screen. We're not going to go through every pick, but I'm going to revisit it because the point of that was if we trade down one spot and we're even just conservative, because the rumors that came out were we could get a haul. I mean, we could get 1, 2, 236, 240, 378, and a future second-round pick, or 1, 2, 240, and a future first-round pick, or a lot of things in between there. So I said, what if we just get a conservative draft haul for that? For the number 1 overall pick, it's always going to be something big. You're going to get value from number 1. They hired Cliff Kingsbury for a reason. They wanted to get Caleb Williams, the hometown Washington boy, where he was born and raised. They wanted him. They went after him. Reports came out, yes. What was in that offer is not released. It apparently wasn't. It wasn't the giant haul of 1, 2, 236, 240, 378, a future first, future second, future third, 5 future picks, and 5 players on the roster. It wasn't that big. But it's realistic to think that there was a big offer on the table. They wanted Caleb Williams. Now, I did video after video after video where I put Caleb Williams, Jayden Daniels, Bo Nix, J.J. McCarthy, Michael Penix. I put them side to side, and I compared them. Jayden Daniels was a Heisman-winning quarterback. He was the most pro-ready quarterback, in my opinion, back then. And he had the best deep ball accuracy, which is something I liked because we had Justin Fields with that too. We're going to sidetrack a little bit here. So if Ryan Poles did all of this and fell in love with Caleb Williams, we know he went to LSU's pro day, but he didn't have a single quarterback in on a top 30 visit except Caleb Williams. If he didn't even bring Jayden Daniels in, and Jayden Daniels truly goes off like he did tonight. For those that don't know what I'm talking about yet, last night, Monday Night Football, Jayden Daniels had himself a game. And people will say, well, they were playing zone all night, and they weren't even making it hard for him. And if you didn't see what Cam Taylor-Britt said before the game, he basically mocked Jayden Daniels, saying they've simplified the offense for him. They've made it. Cliff Kingsbury, he's the college OC, right? And Jayden Daniels is the college quarterback. They simplify it. And he doesn't throw anything deep, and he doesn't throw anything complicated. Jayden Daniels was throwing dimes last night. Back corner of the end zone over here. Right over the shoulder on the 2-yard line here. 30-yard bomb, 40-yard bomb, 15, 17, 13. He looked clean. The most accurate rookie quarterback game in history. It was a beautiful game. He did a good job. All right, so here's what we're talking about. We're going to revisit this one. Is it worth it? Bears dual screen mock draft. This is the video I had from before. And the reason we're doing this is, you look on the left there, there's the headlines. I just snipped some headlines there. Rookie Jayden Daniels nearly flawless, and Commanders 38-33 win over the Bengals. Jayden Daniels big game lifts Washington Commanders to upset the Bengals. Jayden Daniels wows in primetime debut. I mean, there's so many different things that were said, but here on the right, this is from the Sporting News. Daniels silenced anyone who criticized his throwing capabilities with his Monday Night Football performance. The Commanders' rookie quarterback completed 21 of 23 passing attempts, throwing for 254 yards, 2 touchdowns, 91.3 completion percentage, set an NFL rookie record for any quarterback with at least 20 passing attempts in a game. And here is the game. Here's the game. Commanders won 38-33. It was actually bigger than that. The Bengals made it a little closer at the end. 21 of 23 there, 254 yards, 2 touchdowns. He also had 12 carries for 39 yards and another rushing touchdown on the year. If we click on him, on the year, we roll down here. There's his games. Where is his? Oh, there's his rushing over there. So here's his games, 21 of 23, 91% completion, 79, 70. His good long averages, 2 touchdowns. Didn't have any touchdowns before that, but if you look at his rushings, he had 2 touchdowns against Tampa Bay, 1 against the Bengals. He's already got more rushing yards than the Bears have combined by the entire team over the year. So he's absolutely playing lights out in every aspect of the game. There's no doubt he's playing high caliber rookie quarterback ball. I mean, we were told it takes time for rookies to develop, right? We were told, I mean, CJ Stroud didn't, but Jayden Daniels doesn't now. And where does that lead us? So yes, I'm pulling up some of my own tweets. Don't hate me for this, but I'm just going to show the thought process I'm going through. Samo, those who don't know Samo, he's on the Monsters of the Gridway. I really like Samo and his thoughts. He put, and this is obviously last night, snipped it. The game just got a lot more interesting, this game. Talking about the Bears and the Commanders on October 27th, Caleb Williams' homecoming game. It'll be in Washington, and this is one we should have won before. I'll bet we're the underdogs now. This game just got a lot more interesting. We're a long way from knowing who will have the better career, but the fact that polls didn't even bring Jayden Daniels to Hallis Hall to kick the tires will definitely be a topic of discussion. Can't wait to see them go head to head. Well, it's a topic of discussion this morning, and it's going to be on every single outlet. You're going to hear it on Pat McAfee. You're going to hear it on 670 The Score. You're going to hear it everywhere. So we're going to start with it right here. Here's some of my response to a couple different things. I said, oh, man, I'm literally getting people in my messages telling me I was right about trading down from Jayden Daniels. The Hall, I've got nothing right now. All I can say is it's way too early to be saying Caleb Williams isn't also a top-tier quarterback. Let's just let it play out. I believe that. I think Caleb Williams can be, but then below in a thread where I'm discussing with people, I said the argument needs to be if this is the 2020 draft class and there's multiple Super Bowl caliber quarterbacks, how does Ryan Poles not even entertain the other quarterbacks and trade down for the Hall? Unless Caleb Williams is Mahomes 2.0, it was negligence on Poles' part. Not a good look. All right, so let's roll through it. Let's do this. Stretch it out. Let's do it. And I'm going to take actual takes from what happened from the draft. We're going to go what actually took place in the draft and compare it with if we traded down, what it actually would be realistically looking like. So here was before the draft. Those who follow my channel saw that I had this graphic up over and over and over again. We only had 4 picks, and we had all these immediate needs. If it's red, it meant it was an immediate need. We had to fill this need. It had to be filled. Now, this is right before free agency when I made this video. I believe this was like March 10th. So it's right before we signed Coleman Shelton as well. And we got both Bates and Shelton. I think that inhibited us from probably drafting a center. We're going to draft a center right here. So these are the needs we had. Quarterback, wide receiver. We had just traded away Justin Fields. We were still going into free agency. These are the needs we had. We needed a quarterback, another defensive interior, wide receiver, another wide receiver. We know we got Keenan Allen, so that one got filled. Center, guard, tackle, tight end, defensive end. Now, some of those things got filled. Darrell Taylor was a great pickup. First game, he played great. So far, game 2 and 3, he's had a very minimal impact, but Austin Booker did play well in the last game. So we're not going to change the picks that actually took place, but we're going to go through and we're going to see what happened. Now, look at the center, guard, and tackle, how that's really coming to fruition. We didn't fill all of our needs. So let's go through, and this is the trade we're doing, a conservative trade. This is from the video from March 10th or 14th. If you go back and look, you'll find it. It was the side-by-side Jayden Daniels, Caleb Williams, side-by-side draft. So this is what happens. So we're going to trade 1-1 for 1-2, 240, 378. So the Commanders are still keeping their 236, and they get Caleb Williams, and they're keeping most of their other picks. They had a comp pick in the 3rd round too. This is something the Commanders would do. They're not giving up a first next year. Now, some people said that's not enough. Well, typically for a number 1 pick, that's true. 700 on the rich value trade value chart is low. So giving up the number 1 pick for only 700 in value more is low, but you're getting a future second, 2 additional draft picks this year, and you're still getting a top-tier quarterback. This is if the Bears would have brought Jayden Daniels into Hallis Hall, actually done their evaluations, done the work on all the quarterbacks, and not just brought one in. So I'm giving a little scrutiny right here, but we're just giving the hypothetical. We're doing this. We're not turning back now. If you don't like it, leave your thoughts in the comments. I'm ready for it today because this is going to be a hot topic. Here's what we do. All right, so this is what the Bears have. If they draft Caleb's number 1 overall, this is hypothetical number 1 on the left, the Bears own 1-1, 1-9, 375, and 4-122. Number 2, the Bears trade down. They draft Jayden Daniels, number 2. The Bears have the number 1 pick. They trade to Washington for 1-2, 240, 378, future 2nd round pick. And the Bears own 1-2, 1-9, 240, 375, 378, 4-122, and a 2025 2nd round pick. So with that, we're going to get, here's our draft results. Okay, I'm not, like I said, I'm not going to go one by one through the entire thing, but I'm going to go through what actually took place in this draft. On the left, now in both scenarios, we're going to trade back in for that 5th rounder and get Austin Booker. We know the Bears wanted him. That actually happened, so we're not going to change that. So we get Caleb Williams, Rome Odunze, Kieran Amagaji, Torrey Taylor, and Austin Booker. On the right, the white ones are the ones we actually drafted minus Caleb Williams. So we got Rome Odunze, Kieran Amagaji, Torrey Taylor, Austin Booker. By trading down from 1-1, now look at 378. This actually happened. This trade happened in the draft. So here we've pulled it up. This is actually this is actual trade from the draft. Now, obviously, the Eagles ended up trading the Texans again, and they ended up getting Cade Stover. But I'm going to use these two as exactly things the Bears need. So we're going to trade 78 for 86 and 123. So this actually happened. So the Texans received 78. So the Bears had 78. They're going to trade the Eagles. So go with it. So we've traded 78 for 86 and 123. This is not just crazy out in the air. This actually happened. With the 86 pick, Dominic Pooney was picked, and that's someone I'm only using people that I hypothetically used in my mock drafts. And then at 123, everyone knows I freaking loved Cade Stover. So we picked up Jayden Daniels. And if all things being equal, Jayden Daniels and Caleb Williams end up being equal quarterbacks, we picked up Jayden Daniels. We additionally got Zach Frazier, who we know is playing very well for the Pittsburgh Steelers. We picked up Dominic Pooney, who's actually been starting for the 49ers at guard. I didn't expect him to be starting, but I said we could pick him up in the third, fourth round. He's the Kansas guard. We could pick him up as a developmental guard behind Nate Davis and have him start next year. That's what I said. Him and Zach Zinter were my two that I was constantly, and Zach Zinter went before this, or I would have used Zach Zinter because Zach Zinter went earlier in the 80s, or I would have used him. But the same thing, Dominic Pooney, and then Cade Stover, who's having a very good start to his career with Houston. And look at how piss poor our tight ends are playing so far. Mercedes Lewis is looking every bit of 40 years old. He should be gone. One of the biggest mistakes we've made this offseason is getting rid of Brennan Bates. Huge, horrible, terrible mistake. I disagreed with that one too, and I have no idea what this front office is doing. But we could have had all of this. We could have had these 8 players instead of the 5, and all of them are impact. And I'm not on the same train that our offensive line is crisis worthy, but it's definitely not top 15 worthy yet. And if you've got depth here with Dominic Pooney and with Zach Frazier, I do believe this line is verge top 15. And as they gel and as you continue to build and cohese, they could be top 10 with this line. This fills a lot of gaps and holes. And you've got another second-round pick. So you've got the Panthers' second-round pick, and F our lives. I mean, seriously, now we've got the Red Rifle winning games in Carolina, taking the Panthers away from that number 33 pick. There we go. So either way, it's still going to be a good pick. It should be still within the top 40. And then if we had our own pick, and then you've got the Commanders pick, you've got 4 picks in the top 60. 4 picks in the top 60. That would have been amazing. With this upcoming draft class, with the offensive linemen, the defensive interior, the defensive ends in this class, that would have been huge. And you've got a rookie center who's on a rookie contract. You've got a guard that's a solid backup guard for releasing Nate Davis. You've got Kieran Amagaji still. You guys tell me, did we just miss out on a huge opportunity here? Here's where it fills all the gaps. Now, we didn't bring in a new defensive interior until late in the game. We could have done the same thing with Chris Williams and the extra pieces we added there, or we could have drafted one of those other spots with the defensive interior. But look at all these spots we filled instead of having the cluster that we're in now. It could have stacked this team to be in a position of a lot better space. It's not a matter of, we go back to this first screen here, guys. It's not a matter of the Hall versus Justin Fields anymore. I was front runner on that bandwagon. I get it. And we see how Justin Fields is doing in Pittsburgh, and I'm so happy for him, 100%. But that's behind us because Ryan Poles made it clear that it was about the rookie contract. Because anybody who knew football, anybody who was following this channel who actually did analysis on it and wasn't just running with the hype train of Civil War, we hate Justin Fields, he's a terrible quarterback because we don't know what we're saying and we think we're smarter than everybody else because he just sucks. Like, I'm being extreme, but that's what it sounded like on these Twitter idiots. Like, they don't know what they're talking about when they're analyzing a quarterback and his growth. Justin Fields was a progressing quarterback, a development quarterback. He was drafted as a developmental quarterback. That's why he wasn't starting his rookie year right off the bat. He's just like Drake May, developmental. There's a reason they didn't start Drake May game 1, why they're getting a few reps here and there, and why he's going to start later. Same thing. Well, Michael Penix is probably more ready than Justin Fields was. But Justin Fields, the point, Justin Fields was a developmental quarterback. And he was doing that every year. If you don't know what I'm talking about, go watch my prior videos. This is a day where I can say I freaking knew what I was talking about. All you haters, I feel like flipping you the bird right now. All you haters that were sitting there cramming down my throat, telling me I was an idiot, you're a piece of crap, and blah, blah, blah. This is a day where I can say, I freaking knew what I was talking about. I freaking knew what I was talking about. Now, I was wrong on Caleb Williams. I've watched that develop before my eyes. It's almost sweet irony. It's almost poetic that I had to go through this with Caleb Williams to see that he has a special arm. He has a quick release. He is a good, intelligent quarterback. I'm not sold that he's Pat Mahomes yet. And that's the difference here. If he's not Pat Mahomes, we got it wrong. Because if Jayden Daniels or J.J. McCarthy or Bo Nix or any of these guys, which Ryan Poles is a major league NFL GM, he should have the ability to evaluate, bring these guys in. That's why they have top 30 visits. And guess what, Ryan Poles? You didn't do a top 30 visit with Jayden Daniels. You didn't do a top 30 visit with Bo Nix. You didn't do a top 30 visit with J.J. McCarthy. You didn't do that. Stubborn pride. Maybe you just fell too in love with your prospect. It was just love at first sight and you just felt it and it had to be. But did you consider the cost analysis of that? In business, there is a cost analysis of every decision you make. Did you consider if Jayden Daniels, also a Heisman Trophy winner, so you've got Heisman Trophy 1, Heisman Trophy 2, and this is what I said all offseason. What if they're both good? What if? What if they're both really, really, really good? What if they're Joe Burrow and Justin Herbert? What if that's the case? What if they're Tua Tagovailoa? What if they are Jalen Hurts? What if you've got this scenario where these guys are all good and you're choosing between all good? In that scenario, it's going to come down to what you have around them, which is why I've been pleasantly surprised that we added Keenan Allen and Gerald Everett. Now, that's not panning out right now, but Gerald Everett. And we added more centers, and we added DeAndre Swift. Now, I wasn't in love with that one either. I gave that a C minus grade, but I wanted us to get Derrick Henry or Saquon Barkley. We know Saquon Barkley wasn't going to come because he was in love with Philadelphia, his hometown. He wanted to go there. He actually went for a discount, blah, 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 blah. Tyler Badass from the Cowboys, or Lloyd Cushenberry, or Connor Williams. There were options, and you could have done more, but you elected to use the draft capital of 1-1 and go after Caleb Williams. I'm telling you right now, if he's not Pat Mahomes, if he doesn't win at least one, maybe 2 Super Bowls on this rookie contract, especially if Jayden Daniels leads the Commanders to the playoffs in his rookie year, if Bo Nix brings significant improvement to the Broncos, who were predicted preseason this year to be a bottom 5 team, if these guys end up panning out and Caleb struggles his rookie year, or even if Caleb does just as good as them, we just missed out on a future second-round pick, on a generational center. And I don't say that word lightly. Again, go watch my videos on the centers. Jackson Powers-Johnson, who's been injured all offseason, all preseason, all season now. So it's tough to evaluate him, but he's special. And Zach Frazier are 2 of the best centers to come out in the last decade. That's a big statement to make. And I've made that statement. And Zach Frazier's already shown that to be true. When you don't allow any pressures over 50, 100, 200 snaps, that's rare. It doesn't happen ever. So there's a lot of weight now coming into this next game. Sunday's game against the Rams all of a sudden has a ton of weight on it. Remember last week, a week ago, a full 8 days ago, 9 days ago, the Rams lost to the Cardinals 41-10 in a game where Kyler Murray and Marvin Harrison Jr. carved up the Rams. Now, the Rams came back and they beat the Niners. This is such a weird season so far. This is really a bizarre season. But the Rams are out their top 2 wide receivers. But they're coached by a very good coach. There's going to be a lot of analysis on Shane Waldron, on Matt Eberflus, as we go into this game against the Rams. And it may well come down to being just like the Colts game. There's going to be so much pressure on this game for the coaches to get it right, because the fact is, and Cole Kmet alluded to it in his locker room statements. If you guys didn't see those, Cole Kmet talked about how he doesn't think this team is worse, that the personnel is better than the Colts. And I said that on this channel yesterday, the day before. I've even said if we play the Colts 10 times, we beat them 8 times. It came down to coaching. Cole Kmet said the same thing, that he thinks our players are better, and he alluded to it being poor coaching. It might start seeing some dissension here in this locker room. I'm not alluding to it. I'm not saying it's going to happen. I don't know what those guys are thinking behind closed doors, but you also saw Coleman Shelton openly criticize, what are we doing running that pitch option on 4th down after we had 1st, 2nd, 3rd down shotgun handoffs from the 4-yard line. Coleman Shelton criticized it too. It's getting out there that this team doesn't understand why the coaches are calling what they're calling. It could get ugly in Chicago fast. If Matt Eberflus is full of hot garbage, if it's a hot pile of flaming crap on someone's front porch, that Matt Eberflus is talking about cohesion and the locker room being tight. You heard that all last year. Oh, the locker room's tight. Those guys are tight. Tight. They're tight. Oh, those guys are tight. When we were 0-4, that's all he would keep saying. They're tight. Yeah, they're tight. They're blocking out the outside noise. They're tight. This team should easily be 2-1. We could be 3-0. We also could be 0-3. The difference to this season has come down purely to coaching. It has only been coaching that has lost our games for us. This team is talented. There's some inaccuracies. There's some issues. There's some things people have not played up to their standard. But if they're not tight, like Matt Eberflus talks about, if they're not truly cohesed, this could start falling apart quick. I was positive Ryan Poles and Matt Eberflus have job security through this year with the rookie quarterback, rebuilding, getting on track. But I also assumed we'd at least win 9-10 games. If things start falling apart and you see Jayden Daniels and Bo Nix do really well, neither of those guys will have a job next year. Neither of them. Keeping Chris Morgan, hiring Shane Waldron, other than getting lucky and trading down that number 1 overall pick once, what good decision has Ryan Poles made? What good decisions has he made? Now, he made some good draft picks. Some of those have fell into our laps. There needs to be scrutiny, accountability, and criticism on this team until they get it right. I am not saying Caleb Williams won't be as good as Jayden Daniels. I'm not saying Caleb Williams won't be the best quarterback in this draft class. But what we saw last night was Jaden Daniels put on a class that showed he very, very well should be, unless he completely falls apart, CJ Stroud from this year. He should be a rookie that got it, gets it, it clicked, and he's there. He saw the field well. He was throwing dimes. He read his offense. He did everything right. He looks good. We're waiting for Caleb to turn that same corner, and I saw flashes of it. At the end of the game, when we were coming from behind and we scored, before we turned it over the next time, when he threw one to Romo Dunze, it looked really good. It really did. And I'm really excited to see how Caleb develops. I really believe Caleb will be a top 10 quarterback in this league. I want him to be Pat Mahomes. I hope he is. But there's going to be a lot of scrutiny on this team, and that's my Free Talk Tuesday for today. Let me know what you guys think. because this is big. There's a lot. There's a lot on the line now, and this is only going to be talked about and scrutinized a ton. Let me know your guys' thoughts in the comment. If you think I'm full of crap, let me know. Till next time, dabears.